Last week we talked about an app called Seek, which you download onto your smartphone, which will identify pretty much anything that is living when you're out and about, whether you're in the countryside, in your garden, at school, wherever. So I went out and about to my local playing fields and I found something called elder. It was quite a tall tree. Sometimes they're quite short bushes. They just vary a bit. It's very abundant this time of year. There's lots of it around. At this time of year it is flowering. Later in the season it will have berries, but the flowers smell quite strong this time of year, and you can make a lovely drink out of them. So take this little book with you as well called Food for Free that you can put in your pocket, and it'll tell you there how to make elderflower cordial. But I'm going to show you anyway.
This is the typical elder tree or bush. This one's growing around the side of a football field. It's self-seeded, so it's not been planted here, it's just grown by itself. Seeds planted by a bird probably. And it's now about 3 or 4 metres high. You can find them pretty much anywhere. They grow really easily in the wild.
It's best to pick the elderflowers in an area that's away from pollution or where there's been dog walking, so do pick them a bit higher than the dogs are. And pick the ones that are lovely creamy white. Don't pick anything that is starting to go brown or they won't smell so good. So when they've just come out of the bud and when they smell really lovely on a bright sunny day, that's the time to get them, not when they're brown and on a wet day. When you've got them home, process them pretty quickly after you've picked them because the smell goes off and it's a really lovely fragrant smell. You can smell them, they smell really good when you first pick them. If you leave them for a few hours, they go a bit yucky. So then cut them off the stems. Now I've got about 20 or 30 heads of flowers here, and 20 or 30 like that. And so it might take you a little while to cut these off. But cut them and put them in quite a large bowl because you're going to need to be filling this up with sugar syrup and lemons that we're going to add in a minute. So you're going to need 1.5 litres of water, 1.5 kilograms of granulated sugar, just normal sugar, 3 large lemons sliced, and 75 grams of citric acid. Now the citric acid powder just stops the drink from fizzing, from fermenting. It's not essential, you don't have to have it, but you can get it from the chemist. But if you can't get any, then don't worry, just keep your cordial in the fridge and it shouldn't fizz anyway. So in the pan I have 1.5 litres of water and 1.5 kilos of sugar. Now that seems like a huge amount of sugar, I know, but when you make the syrup and the drink, you're only going to drink a small amount at a time because you're going to dilute it with water or fizzy water when you drink it. So it is a 1-to-1 ratio of sugar to water to make the syrup. This part does have to be done with a grown-up present to help because the sugar solution gets very hot. So you're going to put the pan on the heat and you're going to stir the sugar into the water. Keep stirring until the sugar has dissolved, so you can't see any solid left in that liquid. It's all liquid, there's no gritty grainy particles at the bottom. And then you're going to wait till it starts to bubble, till it starts to boil. So I've very carefully poured my boiling sugar solution on top of my lemons and elderflowers in the bowl, and I'm going to sprinkle my citric acid on the top of that if you've got it. If you haven't, like I say, don't worry, it just won't last as long. Keep it in the fridge and stir it in very gently. Stir it in, give it a good stir. So there's our elderflowers. Now because the solution is boiling, it will kill any germs in there, and the citric acid will even stop the yeast fermenting. So you've got no worries about there being any germs on your elderflowers because it's killed by the boiling sugar solution and the citric acid. Lastly, cover with a cool dry cloth and leave it in a cool place for about 24 hours. So after 24 hours, you just ladle all the elderflower mixture through a clean hanky or muslin if you've got one into a jug, all the lemons and the elderflowers and the sugar syrup, and sieve it. Pour into clean bottles. Now if you use glass bottles you'll need to pour boiling water in them first to sterilise them, but I'm using these little plastic bottles. Give them a good rinse out first. And to drink it, I usually put 1 or 2 centimetres in the bottom of a glass and fill it up with fizzy water, a bit of a lemon slice, or you can pour it over ice cream, or you can make it into ice lollies. There's all sorts of different ways of using elderflower cordial. Enjoy.